All right, good day everyone. So today we are going to discuss chapter 12 of our subject na strategic management. Okay, so it is entitled Strategy in Dynamic Environments. So we have here the contents that we are going to discuss, no? VUCAD environment, managing in turbulence times, adapting strategies to technological changes, agility and flexibility in strategic decisions, and ambidextrous organizations or balancing the exploration and exploitation. Okay, so let's proceed first with the first topic, VUCAD environment. Okay, when we say VUCAD, actually it is an acronym of V for volatility, and U uncertainty, C complex, is A ambiguous. Okay? So it is usually used sa it is first used sa US Army, no? US Army War College, no? When we say VUCA, so syempre in a war, no, we don't know yung mga uncertainties, mga nangyayari, yung mga ambiguous, no? So mamaya di-discuss natin isa-isa. And kaya ginamit na rin siya sa business environment, no? Which is the same as ano, having a war din, no? War in different uncertainties na nangyayari sa businesses. Okay? So, actually, bukal lang siya. So, anong nangyari? Kaya yung kanina may bukad na nilagyan ng D. Tapos, nilagyan ng 3 D actually yan, yung bago, yung latest. So, nilagyan ng D for digitalization. Yan, hindi rin kasi maiiwasan yan, no? Nagbabago talaga yan, nagkakaroon ng mga technical changes. Tapos nagkaroon pa another D, dinagdagan nila dito sa sa unahan. So, nangyari, disruption naman yun. Tapos, yung pinaka-latest no, nilagyan nila ng another D. Okay? For, ayan. So, ito, discuss muna natin, no? V for volatile, U for uncertain, C complex, and A ambiguous. Okay? So, it's a disruption. Yan, nilagyan nila ng another D, VUCAD, tapos diversity. Tapos yung latest, yung sinama na nila yung D. Double D na dito sa kasi yung digitalization sinama nila. Okay? Pero let's proceed first with VUCA, no? When sa mga seminars, no, lagi nila sinasabi VUCA. When you say VUCA, no, certain things na nangyayari in the future, no? So, it is usually used in businesses. Okay? So, let's identify what is volatility. Okay? When you say volatility, it refers to the speed of change in an industry, no? Market or world in general. So, sabi dyan, it is associated with fluctuations in demand, turbulence, and short time in market, and it is well documented in literature and industry dynamism. Okay, so the more volatile the word is, the more the fastest things change. No? So, it is more all about speed of change happening in the world, no? So, meron tayong nagkakaroon ng globalization, no? Climate change, yan, technology, yan, visibility. Okay, yan. Next is yung uncertain. Now, when we say uncertainty, it refers to the extent to which we can confidently predict the future, no? So, part of uncertainty is perceived and associated with people's inability to understand what is going on. So, uncertainty, though, is also a more objective characteristic of an environment. So, truly uncertain environment are those who don't allow any prediction. So, also not a statistical basis. So, the more uncertain the word is, the harder it is to predict. Okay? Next is complexity. Complexity refers to the number of factors that we need to take into account. Yeah, their variety and the relationship between them. So the more factors, the greater their variety. And the more they are interconnected, the more complex an environment is. So under a high complexity, it is impossible to fully analyze the environment and come to a rational conclusion. So the more complex the work is, the harder it is to analyze. Okay? So ambiguity. When you say ambiguity, it refers to a lack of clarity. So parang medyo malabo yung nakikita in the future, no, about how to interpret something, no? So, a situation is ambiguous, for example, when information is incomplete, okay, contradicting to or too inaccurate to draw clear conclusion. So walang masyadong data, no? More generally, it refers to fuzziness and vagueness in ideas or terminologies. The more ambiguous the word is, the harder it is to interpret. Okay? So these are the graphs, no, showing the meanings of each characteristic of an business environment, no? So we have here low volatility, meron tayong high volatility, low uncertainty, high uncertainty, complex, tapos ambiguity, yung medyo malabo. Pag complex, medyo masalimuot, no? Maraming uncertainty, walang, you cannot predict, no? And then yung volatility, yung speed of change. Okay. So, yan. Ganyan, in a business, you can also apply this characteristic, no? Sabi nga kanina. So, one of the example is yung sa academe, no? Lalo-lalo na nung yung year 2020, nung nag-start yung pandemic, no? Most of the universities or schools are transferring from face-to-face to an online class. So, from volatility, no? Nagkaroon ng speed of change. Nagbago lahat. 'Di ba, nagkaroon ng pandemic, hindi tayo pwedeng lumabas, nagbago lahat, pati yung the way yung pagbili natin ng mga food, no? Naging online lahat. Yan. So, balik tayo doon sa example natin, no? Sa pagiging online yung teaching class. Nagbago, pati yung pag-exams, no? Online na rin. Yan, volatility. Yung uncertainty naman, ang nangyari, okay, so, syempre, hindi na nagkaroon ng mga travel restrictions, no? Overseas sa mga student, no? Kasi nagkaroon ng mga outbreaks on campuses, no? So, ibig sabihin, uncertain, hindi natin alam kung kailan babalik, no? Hindi natin alam kung kailan mag-i-stop yung pandemic. So, uncertain siya. So, anong nangyari sa world of academe, no? Nagkaroon ng complexity. So, nangyari, the online classroom is very different na face-to-face interactions, no? Staff are managing lower student engagement, no? Issues with technologies, okay? Different time zone, no? And the list goes on, no? Nagkaroon ng complexity. Tapos finally, yung last aspect, yung ambiguity. Ito yung link of absence of face-to-face encounters. So, nagkaroon ng mga virtual teaching. So, remove yung ability to assess the body language or subtle cues that give lecturers immediate feedback about the communication flow with their student. So, yan yung isang example ng VUCA in academe. Okay? So, let's proceed. And sabi ko nga sa inyo, as the world changes, no, nagbago na rin yung VUCA. So, maraming nang nag-revise. Dinagdagan nila ng 3D. So, una-una, di lang dito sa huli, tapos dinagdagan ng isa, tapos hanggang naging 3 na. So, dinagdag nila yung digitalization, diversity, and disruption. So, when you say this digitalization is the use of digital technologies to change a business model and provide new revenues and value-producing opportunities, no? So, it is process of moving to digital business. So, when we say disruption, to prevent something no? Especially system, process, or event from this continuing as usual or unexpected. Because of this unexpected mga event, no, nagkakaroon disruption, yung mga traditional na ginagawa natin, hindi na natin siya nagagawa. So, ngayon. So, nagkakaroon din diversity when it comes to condition of having being composed of different elements, nagkakaroon ng variety. So, sa mga work ngayon, no, nagkakaroon ng variety when it comes to races, cultures, no? So, naging diversified yung mga company. They hired mga foreigners pagdating sa races. Okay? Ayan. So, let's proceed with the next topic, managing in turbulent times. Okay? So, actually, kapag nangyari yung mga bagay na yun in a business, no, mga turbulent times, all we have to do is to have this strategy implementation. So, sabi diyan, you need to craft a strategy, okay? And sabi nga dyan, no, companies often struggle to cope up with volatility kasi nga nagkakaroon ng maraming changes. Minsan nag-struggle yung mga companies, no? How to strategize. Kunyari, nag-strategize sila tapos meron na naman nangyaring event. They need to change again yung strategy nila. Kaya medyo nahihirapan sila when it comes to crafting their strategy. So, using the traditional strategic planning model, managers attempt to forecast how markets will evolve and competitors will respond and define the multi-year plan for winning in the future state. So, usually, ganyan lang naman, no, mag-strategy planning. You need to forecast, no? Okay? So, the organization is then called upon to execute the plan. So, when you strategize, of course, you need to plan. Tapos, performance is routinely monitored when you, okay, nakaka-craft ka ng strategy, nakapag-plan ka na. Now, you need to implement. After that, it will not stop there, no? You need to monitor if your strategy is effective. Okay? So, we have 5 key steps. Leverage specific strategies and tools to navigate uncertainty effectively. Okay? So, meron daw 5 key. Now, first is define extreme but plausible scenarios. So, this employs scenario planning, attempt to forecast how political, economic, kaya nga meron tayong mga pestle analysis, no? One of the analysts use tools that analysts use in order to identify, no, mga to. Kaya yung pestle analysis na we discussed in our previous chapters, no, is very important to really quarterly do analysis when it comes to their pestles, no, political, economic, kasi it's very important para ma-prevent na yung mga things na mangyayari in the future. Social. So, after that, mag-develop ng best case scenario. Worst case scenario, ito na mangyayari. At least, hindi pa dumadating yung mga things na mangyayari, no? So, napag-isipan na, napagplanuhan na. So, worst case scenario, ito mangyayari. So, how are we going to cope up with that? Okay? So, ganyan ginagawa ng companies. So, second is identify strategies, hedges, and options. No? So, na-identify mo na yung mga scenarios. Now, it's high time for you to create plans. No? Yung mga options na mangyayari, no? Mga things na pwedeng mangyari kapag ito yung, nag-isip kayo, next year, you are predicting na magkakaroon ng inflation. Okay? Kasi mayroon kang nakikita economic factor, no? So, when it comes to implementation, ano yung mga things na gagawin natin? Ano yung mga options na gagawin ng isang business? Okay? That's why mga companies, lalo na yung mga malalaking companies, no, they hired or they created a division, research and development, o R&D. Okay? So, these R&Ds, ayan, sila yung isa sa nagpa-plan, how are they going to formulate yung new product development based doon sa mga needs and wants ng customers and based doon sa mga nangyayari or trending, no, in the market. So, third is run experiment before locking an investment. It's very important, no, to really experiment first, no, bago ka mag-proceed doon sa experiment. So, sabi dyan, experimentation is crucial for innovation and success, no, but it should be tied to substantial opportunities. Okay? So, companies like Amazon, use a small experiment to validate potential game-changing ideas, such as success in their Prime subscription model. So, isa sa good example of experimentation is yung Amazon. Fourth is identify trigger points, signposts, and metrics. Okay? So, companies must identify pivotal moments and measure to adapt swiftly. So, having trigger points and signposts in place helps companies gauge when to alter their strategies. At saka yung last is provide prescription surveillance. Monitoring performance should not just report past performance but focus on actionable insight to future decision making. So, yan. Yan yung mga steps. How are we going to manage these turbulent times? Okay? So, sabi nga, yung traditional plan and do will really helps the company when they face yung mga uncertainties. Okay? So, this is our third topic, adapting strategies to technological changes. Okay, as technological advances continue to reshape our world, okay, so we already know that there are really a lot of changes, no, when it comes to technology, no? When you compare yung 90s hanggang sa ngayon sa 20s, napaka laki na yung pinagbago, no? Pagdating sa automation, sa AI, no? Internet, new technologies transforming the way we work, okay? Communicate and live, no? So dati, kung compare mo yung mga bata dati, no, yung mga cellphone, walang mga cellphone hawak, no, ngayon wala nang bata ang walang cellphone, no? Even yung mga maliliit pa lang may mga cellphone na, no? So, ganyan nagbabago ang technology. So, adapting the technological changes requires proactive approach in prioritizing adaptability, flexibility, and growth mindset. So, staying informed about technological development is crucial for building resilience in today's fast-paced work environment and can be achieved through following industries, news and trends, attending conferences and network events, engaging with thought leaders. Okay. So, let's proceed with the agility and flexibility in strategic decision making. Na if a company experience this VUCA environment, no? Okay? And these technological changes, okay? So, you have to be agile, no? And flexible in creating your decision making. So, let's discuss what is agility. Okay? When you say agility and flexibility, decision-making excellence requires self-awareness and ability to choose how to think in different situations. So, sabi dyan, decision-making is for leaders. Kasi, kaya nga binabayaran ng mga malalaki yung mga leaders, no, in companies. Because of this, they need to be agile and flexible in terms of creating their decisions. Okay? So, I just want to give you an example, no? Yung, kunyari sa US, no? Yung kapag umuulan ng storm, storm ng snowstorm, yan. Kailangan ng mga tao na bumili ng pala, no? Kasi pinapala nila yung mga bubong nila, yung snow, tinatanggal nila. So, it is very important yung shovels. So, one of the examples na nangyayari pagdating sa agility and flexibility, yung mga tindahan ng, kunyari, ang shovel, yung pala, binibenta lang nila ng $15. Kapag bumagyo kinagabihan, kinabukasan, nagtataas sila ng price. Nagiging 20. Okay? So, sa iba, di ba, pag iisipin mo, napakagaling naman na tong, ano na to, ay naiinis, syempre sa as a customers, naiinis, kahapon $15 lang yan, bakit naging $20? Okay? So, sa iba, in a business world perspective, no, sa iba, ang galing naman ito, kumikita ang kabuhayan, di ba? May mga ganyang saying. Pero, in reality, nagkakaroon ng distrust yung mga customers doon sa store na yon. Kunyari, hindi lang naman pala ang tinitinda nila. So, mahal naman ito, nag-ano kagad, sa iba na nga tayo bumili. Di ba? Ganyan, ganyan yung magiging, nawawala ng trust yung customers. Kaya, hindi, hindi, ano yon, yung pagtaas ng presyo ng agad-agad, no? Because of a certain case na nangyari is not possible kasi nawawalan nga ng trust. Okay? So, as a leader, ganun din, no? Kunyari, ang product mo, naging, kasi nga supply and demand, no? Naging in demand yung mga product na sinusupply mo. Are you going to raise yung price para kumita ka? Okay? Or you will stay the same price para mas tangkilikin ka pa lalo ng mga tao. So, it's up to you as a leader to decide. Okay? So, yan papasok yung pagiging agile tsaka yung flexible mo as a leader. So, leadership is an art as much as a science. No? Sabi, it can be learned by nurturing conversation where the mind is not necessarily driving the decision. So, but where the heart and the soul help remind it to stay open to other avenues of thinking. Okay? So, I have here a small video. So, let's watch this.
My name is Ron Meyer. I'm Professor of Strategic Leadership here at TIAS School for Business and Society, and welcome to Myers Management Models, insightful tools to kickstart your thinking. And welcome to installment 10, in which I'd like to tell you about the Strategic Agility Model. Now, the Strategic Agility Model gives us an answer to the question, how can I develop strategy in a volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous world? In other words, a world which is very, very difficult to predict. Now, if you want to make a strategy, typically we start thinking about trying to predict the future and then making a plan how I'm going to get there. So if you're a strategist, let's look 5 years into the future. So if I know where I'm going, then I can make some type of a plan of how I'm going to get there. Very often we actually go backwards. We say, if in year 5, I'd like to be there, then year 4, 3, 2, 1, future back planning. But the strategic agility model says, wait a second, we can't predict the future. If I look into the future, I don't see any dot on the horizon. All I see is mist. And I'm going to have to make a strategy, even though I can't really understand the future. Now, how does that go? Now, let's put that in different terms. If I, for instance, were in Sevilla at this moment, and I wanted to go to Mumbai, well, if I can predict the future, I know I'm in A, I'm going to B, I know what I'm going to encounter along the way, I could make a strategic plan. Now, if it's true that the world is VUCA, it means that, well, I'm standing somewhere and I don't know exactly where I'm going. Does that mean that the only alternative to making a strategic plan is to improvise? Well, the strategic agility model says that there's something in between the two. It means that, well, let's take a historic example. Say you were in Sevilla about 500 years ago, like Christopher Columbus, and say that you were going to Mumbai, but you didn't know exactly that it was Mumbai yet. You had this idea that you were headed to India. Now, if you're going from Sevilla to somewhere in India, and we want to take a strategic agility approach, it means that we need to start by first trying to envision where it is that we'd like to go. It doesn't mean we can predict the future, but we do need to have some sense of where we think we want to head. So we have to have a sense of direction. Otherwise, we don't know in which direction we should go scouting, we should go looking. And strategic agility is all about trying to find the future along the way. So if we know that we don't know, it does still mean that we need to try to envision the direction in which we want to head. Now, if we have this sense of direction, then we have to start organizing ourselves to find out. We need to start organizing ourselves to explore. And what do? We start by taking a number of bets. We start with some initiatives. We get some ships, we get a crew, so we take some bets, but we don't know exactly what's going to work. So we're going to have to try some things out. So in a typical strategic agility approach, it means that you spread your bets. And Christopher Columbus had 3 ships because he didn't want to put all of his chips on one bet. So you spread your bets, and then you're going to try some things out. Some things are going to be sure bets. In any type of future, they're probably going to work out. Some things are going to be, well, pretty risky bets because you're very unsure, but you're going to give it a try anyway. But if you know it's risky, if it's a big bet, don't put too much on that bet. And then we start acting. So some things which we know for sure we're going to execute, some things which we're less sure about, we're going to experiment, some things we're even less sure, we're going to have to try to examine them. We're going to have to try to scout around. All of this acting is intended to try to learn, to try to find out what works, to see what in the future is actually going to be true. And as we learn, we're going to stop doing certain types of things. We're going to course adjust. And there's going to be things which you say, this is great. Let's put even more effort into them. And this is how we grope around in the mist and we try to find our way. So we're looking into the mist. We're trying to find our way in the mist, but we know that we don't know. So we hold on to the steering wheel so that we can course adjust along the way. Now, if we're taking different initiatives, it means that also that some of these initiatives are going to veer to the left or they're going to veer to the right. And so we need to try to harmonize those different initiatives as they unfold, as we gain more insight. So we need to unfold so as well when it comes to trying to bring all of those things together. And this is the way that strategic agility works. It's not a straightforward step-by-step process, but these are the types of things that you need to do to try to find your way. So what can we conclude about the nature of making strategy in a VUCA environment? Well, it starts by acknowledging that you don't know. And if we know that we don't know, let's not be the people who don't know, you don't know. If we know that we don't know, we're going to have to do number 2, which is we're going to have to take a guess. It means we look into the future, we give it our best shot. Strategy is our current best guess, but we know it's a guess. So we're going to try to find out whether we guessed correctly. Which brings us to insight 3. Strategizing is about constantly learning. It's about gaining insight as we move forward. And we're going to learn that some things don't work and we have to cancel those. Some things we're going to have to course correct. Some things are going to be even better than we thought. And this is how we proceed and the strategy unfolds along the way, it emerges. And it means, therefore, that since we know that we don't know, we're going to take risks, we're going to bet. But we want to make sure that these are calculated risks. So the less certain we are, the less we're going to want to bet. And we're going to bet just enough to try to find out. And as we gain more certainty, we're going to be able to commit ourselves and we're going to be able to then move forward with more certainty. And finally, the key insight is that strategizing is not about making a plan once, but it's about keeping it alive. It's going to be an ongoing process. Strategizing is never over. Well, hopefully a useful way of thinking, a useful model. Hope to see you again next month.
All right. So let's proceed with our last topic. Okay. So it is entitled Ambidextrous Organizations Balancing Exploration and Exploitation. Okay. So let's identify first what is ambidextrity. Okay. So when you say ambidextrity, it is the ability to use both hands right and left equally well, no? When referring to objects, the term indicates that the object is equally suitable for the right-handed and left-handed people. So when referring to human, it indicates the person has no marked reference for use of right or left hand. Okay? So in business administration, ambidextrity is understood as ability to run an efficient day-to-day business, or what we call exploitation, while pursuing radical innovations, or what we call exploration. So in order to ensure the short and long-term success of the company. Okay? So let's identify what is exploitation. So usually it is to meet the short-term wishes of a customer while saving costs and developing the solution offered incrementally in a business step. So mamaya i-discuss natin ito isa-isa to identify the difference between exploitation and exploration, no? When we say exploration, so it is to address the long-term and the current not yet implicitly known customers' needs in order to develop new products and business and enable new growth. Okay, to be excellent in the task while agile, non-routine, iterative process to develop creative and radical new solutions. Okay, yan yung exploration. No? So, to discuss this, no, ito yung summary. Okay, when it comes to explorations, ibig sabihin yan yung innovation, exploitation, yan yung routine na ginagawa ng isang company. So, the difference when in terms of target, no, exploration, finding and fulfilling long-term future customer needs. On the other hand, ito yung exploitation is yung short-term, no, meeting yung today's customer needs. No? So, when it comes to task, searching, like linking, opinion making, creative development. No? On the other hand, exploitation, ito yung efficient and effective execution. Now, when it comes to culture, speed and flexibility. So, exploitation is yung low risk and high quality. No? When it comes to KPI and measure, exploration, ito yung milestone and findings. When we say exploitation, ito yung profit and productivity. Okay? So, structures and process, ito yung flexible, agile, iterative. On the other hand, yung exploitation, yung clear and formal process. Pagdating sa employees, exploration, yan yung mga entrepreneurs, generalists, okay? When we say exploitation, yan yung realizer, specialist, yan. When it comes to leadership, no, exploration, ito is yung visionary, involving, no? Exploitation, ito yung authoritarian, top-down, okay? So, yan yung difference. So, that's it for our chapter 12. Thank you for listening and see you next meeting.